Hello and welcome to the reveal of the Peugeot Le Mans Hypercar. We're delighted to have you with us today for this quite emotional moment, very important to us. We're here in the workshops of Peugeot Sport, a place which has given birth to many race cars, legendary race cars from Peugeot. My name is Jean-Philippe Kempf. I'm the communication director of Peugeot, and I'm not alone. I'm here with Bruce Joanny. Bruce is a pilot, and he's also a very good TV moderator, so he'll give us a hand for today's reveal. Bruce, thank you to be with us today.
The pleasure is mine. Hello, Jean-Philippe. Hello, everyone, and thanks for connecting with us. I am basically super happy and honored to be here with you for a special day, because it is a really special day today.
Indeed. I mean, the people here in these workshops have been working for months in the greatest secret on this car, to make it, to create it, to develop it, and so on. And now they are super excited and very eager to take the core of it. Bruce?
What's going to happen?
Wanted here to make a webcast because it's still difficult to travel. So we thought with this, it's quite comfortable. You can be home, you can be in your office, and you can see the car. You can ask your questions to the people who have created it. So what is going to happen in the next minutes, Bruce?
Well, it's quite exciting because we're all about to witness the new Peugeot Hypercar. And it's like really emotional for me as well as a racing driver because I have interest in those cars. And basically we have prepared a little movie that we have recorded in the last couple of days. And in the movie you will obviously see details of the car, but also the drivers, because the entire lineup of Peugeot WEC drivers were there and they took off the cover as well, and you're going to see their emotion on their face, so that's quite interesting. in that video. And then afterwards, because we suppose you guys are going to have quite a lot of questions, we've organized a Q&A. And today you've got the right people to answer all the questions. And let me please introduce them to you. Linda Jackson is the CEO of Peugeot. And next to Linda, hello Linda.
Hi.
Next to Linda, we have Olivier Jansoni, who is the technical director of the Peugeot WEC program.
Hello.
Bonjour. Jean-Marc Finot, next to Olivier, is the motorsport director, of Stellantis. Jean-Marc. And finally, last but not least, we've got Matthias Ossan, who is the director of the design at Peugeot.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
So we're almost roaring to go. Now, if you want to ask your questions, please use a little pop-up on the right side of your screen. It's orange. Try to have rather short questions and tell us whom you want to ask your question for. And actually, you can already start now. Bruce?
Yeah, are we ready to go? Housekeeping is done. Ladies and gentlemen, please see and welcome the new Peugeot Hypercar. Hi everyone, this is Satori. This is the heart of Peugeot Sports Racing Team. Here it's highly confidential. This is where all the future technologies are being developed. And today we're about to leave something really special. So come and follow me. Now I'm entering the den of Peugeot Sport, and over there I can see, in the middle of the workshop, which is amazing, Linda Jackson, CEO of the Peugeot brand, and Jean-Marc Finot, who is the head of Stellantis Motorsport. Hello there.
Hi.
Hello, very nice to see you. Feel really privileged to be here today and seeing those amazing cars, 905 just behind us. Jean-Marc, why are we here today?
You are here today because it's a great day. So you will see this day. We will present the new Hypercar Peugeot Sport. It's for the World Endurance Championship. So you know that motorsport is in Peugeot DNA. We have been racing for more than 1 century. 1 century ago we were in Indianapolis, but the center of our DNA is of course endurance racing in Le Mans. Le Mans we won 3 times with 905 in 92. With the 905 one more time in 93. Yeah. We won also with the 908 in 2009. You see all these
small trophies.
Yes, we are very proud of them. They are in our office. And every day we are thinking that our target is to
win Le Mans again.
At Le Mans or World Endurance Championship as well.
Linda, we were talking about Le Mans, but we were talking about other series as well. But why Le Mans? Why is the decision to go back to WEC?
To be honest with you, it's quite simple because it's right at the very heart of the Peugeot strategy. You're probably aware that we have a large number of models, of electrified models that are on sale now in the main segments of the market. And also by the end of 2021, circa 70% of our models will be electrified. So clearly that energy transition is really, really important for Peugeot. And the link with the endurance and coming back into the endurance means that we can really demonstrate our excellence in terms of engineering, in terms of hybridization, you know, the link between internal combustion and of course performance and electrification. So that's the sort of start of it, but there's lots more. There's lots more.
So I'm getting curious. So basically you're using the WEC to develop the technology?
It's exactly that. If you think about some of the technology, electrification, but other technologies that we use on the racing car, then that's totally valid for production cars as well. You know, total reliability, ultra important for customers when they're driving their cars, but ultra fundamental to endurance. So I always think of motorsport as a bit like a laboratory where we can develop creative innovations in technology, try them out on the race car, and then of course they can be transferred to the end customer in our production cars. So that's a really integrated link between endurance, motorsport and the Peugeot brand.
Yeah, it makes sense. Jean-Marc, I have a question. Are some of the people that are working on the sports program are actually working on the production car?
Peugeot Sport is one team. The people that have been working, for instance, on the 508 Peugeot Sport engine that you see behind me, are also working on the World Endurance Championship car. So just a few examples, both of them are four-wheel drive cars with hybridization. This one is 360 horsepower, very pleasant to drive, and also very economic with a very low level of CO2, around 46 grams of CO2. And just an example of the feedback from motor racing to our road legal car, energy strategy of this car are coming from our World Endurance Championship experience that has been developed on race tracks.
You were talking about Neo technology. So there's something happening at Peugeot now. There's a new brand or identity, which is Peugeot Sport Engineered. So is that all part of what's happening, like performance car and green as well?
Exactly. So we call it Neo Performance.
Yeah, Neo Performance.
Neo Performance, which is exactly that. It's about building cars that are respectful for the environment, virtuous for the environment, at the same time high performance. And that's the whole idea of the Peugeot Sports Engineered, the 508 that you see here that we're launching this year, which is all about creating high performance cars, but they're electrified, they're hybrid, using the hybridization technology. So that's really important for us because it creates that link of energy transition once again.
So actually I drove that car when I came this morning, so I know a little bit about it, but I'm curious to know, will there be more cars in the very near future, PSE, Peugeot Sport Engineered?
Well, this is the first one.
Okay.
And I would say that the next one is the 9X8.
The 9?
X8.
Okay, what's that?
Well, that's actually our hypercar. It's our race car that we're launching and revealing today here at Motorsport. So effectively it becomes integrated into the Peugeot range in Neo Performance, so the 9X8.
All right. And why 9X8? Because there's something happening with the X, there's no more zero in the middle. So where does the name come from?
Well, it actually is quite simple. So 9 is all about the ultimate Peugeot car. And if you take, you think back to all of the racing cars, 905, 908, the X is it's a four-wheel drive, but also hybridization. And finally, the 8, it's integrating the hypercar into the Peugeot current range. You've got a 208, 3008, and there you are, 9X8.
Yeah, it's the idea that the hypercar is actually a road legal car, or sort of,
Yeah.
and so it becomes part of the...
Exactly.
Okay,
And
I
it
totally
integrates
understand.
all into the Peugeot strategy.
It makes sense. Now, next question. I drove that one. Am I allowed to drive this one this morning?
Not today.
Not today. All right. So, excellent. I can't wait to see it. Can I have a look yet, or...?
I think you're going to have to wait just a little while.
All right. Okay, I'll be patient.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Matthias, Olivier. Well, Linda does not let me have a look yet to the car, so I hope it'll be soon. It was 10 months ago that we were, the three of us together, talking about this, the announcement of Peugeot about coming into this category, the hypercar. Big opportunity, I guess.
I think it's a fantastic opportunity, because this new regulation, offer some new opportunity to work together in order to build the most performance car, but at the same time, a car that really embodies all the brand DNA and the design philosophies that we would like to present you today.
Since those 10 months, what were the steps that you have made?
Quite a lot of steps actually. First, we finished designing, we produced, and we built our first engine. And it's now being tested on our dyno since April. Then also we built some part of our batteries already. We've also released our toolings for production of the monocoque. And we've also worked quite hard on the finalization of the aero design and the aero development, both in wind tunnel and calculation.
How have you managed to finally work together?
Olivier's team just explained us also what are the limitations, but also the opportunity of this new regulation. Based on that, we open, I would say, design competition internally in order to have many proposals. Based on this proposal, we select the one that we do think that we can really achieve, and the one also that make a clear breakthrough comparing to what we know, from this category. And this is what we have here.
Well, I don't want to wait any longer. It's time to unveil the 9X8 and the spirit of racing at Peugeot Sport. Okay, wow. Wow is the first word. Amazing, amazing. Okay, it's so like, the first thing I'd say, it looks like a Peugeot car. It looks like a hypercar Peugeot road car. And it's so special. The car is just one line, and okay, I have 100 of questions happening. Why is there no rear wing at the back?
There is, in the relation, an opportunity to achieve the required level of performance without really the need of a rear wing. That was the first thing. We also think that it's something that we can use as an advantage. And also it was something that, with our discussion with Matthias' team, was clearly in the direction of the breakthrough that he was mentioning earlier.
So this car, as it looks now, will be really close to the real race car.
It should be very close. The surfaces of this car that we have now are basically what the race car was about 2 to 3 months ago, when we had to freeze the surfaces to release this model.
Okay.
Since then, we've carried on developing our concept. So there's been some changings, but at least the main concept is there.
You're happy with the choice that they made in terms of what they could include on the aesthetics?
But I think, again, since the beginning, we are working together, and we found that was a great opportunity, to do not have this rear wing in order to have a specific signature and make this car really iconic at the end of the day.
It is for sure, this car, it looks like a complete new era of racing cars in Le Mans. Like we've seen the 905, which was a big step forward, 908 as well. This looks like a complete new, not a decade, a new century. It's like a spaceship, it's amazing. When will the car be actually rolling for the first time?
The car will be rolling before the end of the year. So we're still on track with our initial plan. There's been no change since we last talked. And it will be racing in 2022.
And who will be the first driver to be in the car?
I think it's going to be a very difficult question, judging by the interest they all have into driving this car for the first time. But at least, if that's the only question we have to answer in December, I think
it's not too bad.
Result.
Can we have a look inside?
Sure.
Okay. All right. That looks amazing as well. How much of this will actually be in the real race car as well?
It's difficult to say at the minute. We have to go through the installation of all of our drivers in the car. 7 drivers, different sizes, to fit in the same environment. And we will work on the ergonomics and try to see how much we can take.
Okay, well, I like the colors, and I'm probably mid-height, so I'm sure I'll fit in the car.
I really wants to emphasize, our iCockpit, but put it in a hypercar. We can find that this concept is still valid, and we really wants to push also in terms of color and trim to have something really unique as a strong signature, as a strong interior signature, and that's why we implement this iCockpit in this hypercar.
Well, you've managed both outside and inside to make something that looks like a spaceship. That's amazing. That's unique in looks. That doesn't look like any other race car that I've seen before. So yeah, it's just a wow. And for sure, this car will be in the history books. Hopefully also for the result, but for sure, just as it is now, it's amazing. So what's your first impression to the two of you?
Much more than you expect.
So before I had just big smiles, and now you guys are like, just wow.
It's just so far from what you expect to see. That's my feeling.
Honestly, you're speechless. When you see a car like that, with no rear wing, it's revolutionary. Like, it's going to be a car that will mark the history of Le Mans. Yeah, I mean, you make the history when you win, right? True. So we have to make sure that we win with this car. But if this car wins Le Mans, it's gonna be a car that will write the history books. But everything is, I mean, all the design is crazy. The wheels are amazing.
The lights at the rear are amazing.
And did you see there was some small messages on the cars?
Yeah, we found we didn't want a rear wing.
Yeah. What did you think about that one?
Well, I mean, Loic looked a bit concerned before we took it off.
It was like, there's something missing there.
Do you know what we're going to have to ask the engineers for when we want more rear wing?
Well, no. I think you're stuck.
You know what? If a car is as quick as it looks like, this one is a winner.
Yeah. It's a saying in motorsport.
Man, honestly.
Yeah.
Really impressed, really.
There's another little message there, I think. He thinks, my other car is a 508.
Yeah.
What's your first impression?
I mean, it feels like motorsport has, with this, you know, there's going to be, this is a new era, right? This is not like any race car you've ever seen.
No, it's really like we were saying, it's in each kind of decade, there seems to be one manufacturer or one car specifically, like the Porsche, you know, that was at the end of the 80s that just made a massive step. And this is, at least aesthetically, gives you that tease of what that next step is.
You were saying this is what you think of when you say hypercar. You know, this is like, this is a hypercar.
This is a hypercar.
Well, that's it for now. The next time you see this car, it will be on a racetrack. Guys, come on, it's time to go home now. Seriously. Well, yes, I had to turn off the lights to make them go away. It was pretty tough. I have to say just one thing. I've been in motorsport and in cars environment for 25 years, and I didn't have, it's a long time I haven't had goosebumps at an unveiling of a car and seeing a new car. And as Gustavo Menezes was saying, it's a new era, and it's like, whew, there's a lot of emotion, and I'm glad to be here. Please, Linda, may you have the first word.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's lots of emotion, there's lots of excitement and passion, but also I think you get from that film, you see the team spirit. You know, the engineering, the design, and the drivers, of course, all working together with the brand to create something, a real challenge and a real exciting journey. And, you know, that's not just in this as well. What also we see that is the teams working together to take technology that is created off these sort of cars that then actually moves into production cars. And of course, you know, we've got real life examples of where technology moves from sort of hypercars to the 508 Peugeot Sport Engineered, which, you know, is really on the roads now. So for me, it's that team spirit, it's the excitement, and everybody's up for the challenge. And I'm very, very proud so far of everybody, and I know they're going to make me proud, so.
Yeah, that it's true. There is already this team spirit which already exists when the project is just at the beginning. Linda, I've already got a first question, which is for you actually. So Linda, it's great to see Peugeot coming back to Le Mans, but why precisely go for Le Mans and endurance racing?
Oh wow, that's a great question. So why? So I mean, I think well, first of all, Le Mans is a myth, isn't it? I mean, you know, it's a complete dream to be there, and I think we've got a bit of a history. You know, 2 endurance programs over 2 decades and just a couple of victories. That's not bad. So I guess it's a bit of a love affair, but it's a very tough love affair. It's a very challenging one, and we're really up for the challenge. And I think it's going to stretch us, but you know, it will stretch us in looking and really developing very high levels of complex in terms of, you know, total reliability and hyper efficiency. And all of that is so important. And of course, at the end of the day, we also want to win. I think that's the excitement. But yeah, it's in our DNA of Peugeot. It's in our DNA.
Absolutely, can confirm that. I've got a next question, which is for Olivier, actually. Olivier, is this a design exercise, or will the car really look like this in the end?
No, actually, it's not a simple design exercise. The car will very much look like it. Into this proportion, and the concept is almost there, I would say. Finally, the car was exactly like that a few months ago when we had to freeze the concept and release the surfaces for this model. Since then, obviously, we carried on the development. We have a few changes on the car, but nothing really major, and I think generally the car is there.
Okay, excellent. And then, quite logically, the next question goes to Matthias, which obviously, being the director of design, you two guys actually work together, and the question is, how have you collaborated? It's quite complicated to explain, but you did that well last time.
But in fact, since the beginning, in fact, with Olivier's team, we were sharing, our design vision, and Olivier shared also how to make this car, highly performant, because this is the main topic, in this car. And by sharing that since the beginning, we were sharing the same vision, and that's why we succeed, in fact, to bring this prototype today. That we hope will be really close to what we'll have at the end.
Mm. So you managed to keep or to bring this new signature of Peugeot Sport engineered into the car, which is what I saw for the first time. It sounded a little bit easy to say, but it really looks like a Peugeot car, which was the target, new Peugeot with this new signature, as well as being a hypercar, which is usually in Le Mans not the case. You see racing cars, but you don't see a brand so present. So you really managed that. Linda, I have got another question for you. No, sorry, Jean-Marc first. Got lots of questions coming up.
Sorry, Linda.
Jean-Marc, sorry, Linda. Are you still convinced that LMH is the right category for Peugeot?
Yes, of course, I am convinced for many reasons. So the first one is the design of the car, of the look of this hypercar that is allowed by this smart regulation. It's a regulation without imposing technical shapes, but with just a downforce or drag coefficient and a lot of freedom of design as long as we have in this window. It's also a four-wheel drive hybrid car, and like our Peugeot 508 Peugeot Sport engineered. So it's the same team, the same engineers that are working on both cars. It means that we are pulling the technology with the motorsport, and it goes straight to our road legal car. We have also a very interesting partnership with Total Energy in developing together the batteries with a high level of efficiency of this car, and we will be one step ahead in battery development with Total Energy Group. So for all of this reason, we are quite sure that it's the good championship, the LMH1.
Because it allows you, it's like this category, because it is so wide in terms of regulation, allows you to transfer directly the technology. I think the next question for Linda goes back to that subject. Linda, as the head of brand Peugeot, do you really believe that a motorsport program has an influence on the production vehicle?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just a belief, it's an actual fact, to be perfectly honest. And, I think I mentioned it in the film. When I talk about, I see motorsport full stop as like a laboratory where they develop technology. And we've got real examples that Jean-Marc and his team have developed, as I say, on 508, but also on other things as well. So yes, I really do believe it. And I think that's essential. I mean, of course, we're in motorsport to win. And we're in motorsport because we're passionate about it. But also for me, it's very important that you get this transfer of technologies that you try out in this laboratory. And then, of course, everybody on the road can actually take benefit. So yes, it's not a belief, it's a fact.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you for that. Question for Olivier. What have been the outcomes of simulator testing? That's pretty specific over the last few months. And did you get a chance to judge the car's performance at the current WEC tracks?
Yeah, so we started our simulation program in January. Since then, we have basically developed our simulator, and at the same time, we're also testing some concepts, and we've tested many things on the car already in the simulator, on the transmission, also on the aero, for instance. So actually, the aerodynamics of that car you see there has been driven by our drivers on the simulator before they even get the chance to see what the car actually looks like. And for the last part of the question, we are able to compare the car performance in most WEC tracks now. The premise, the baseline is the reference. We don't have any competition model, obviously. So it's always difficult to judge the actual level of performance, but we can tell from what we've been doing over the last month, the gains and the losses we made.
Okay, excellent. I don't know if I heard some testing going on in the simulator as well, which are completely amazing. I don't know if I may say, if I say too much, but you went through night testing already, so yeah, that's pretty impressive and advanced.
Yeah, simulator is a great tool. We do many different things. So we do some night running in the simulator, and we test the lights as well.
Tested the lights on the simulator as well. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, I think I'm a little bit stuck with the questions. It hasn't been moving. I don't know if somebody can send me the questions that have been forwarded. Maybe there are too many and they're not coming through. I don't know. Yeah, it's there. Thanks. Are you proud your car looks like a real hypercar and not just an improved LMP1 prototype? And who wants to answer that question? Because it was, they're all coming too quick. Anyways, maybe the next question will be from Matthias. Jean-Marc, maybe would you like to answer that question? Are you proud that the car looks like a real hypercar and not like an LMP1 car, which was the previous top category in Le Mans?
Yes, so we had the chance to start with this new regulation, starting from a white sheet of paper. So we have used all the potential of the regulation to have actually a design of a car, and it's not just to add some technological ideas like some prototypes are in the racing currently. So the first step was we will make a Peugeot, an hypercar Peugeot, and the design has been done on all the technical devices follow that. So
it was your target, and you actually managed to do that. So that's really impressive. Next question is for Matthias. Sorry, it goes quite quickly, but they're coming up. Matthias, the cockpit of the 9X8 is absolutely stunning, but isn't just a piece of design that has nothing to do with racing. And I guess that the rest of the question will be, will it remain inside?
It's a really interesting question. As you know, we try to build in this prototype, the ultimate version of our iCockpit, which is the experience that we deliver today in the production car. And this iCockpit is based also on intuitivity and instinctiveness. And this is what we want to deliver, in fact, to our pilot. And that's why we work, with the Peugeot Sports team in order to provide something which is realistic in terms of architecture, but which is also a Peugeot signature, and that's why also you have a strong word around the steering wheel, which is a strong part of the Peugeot DNA, but also the color and trim, because we do believe that today, in fact, all the motorsport cars in this category are really functional, but lack a little bit of a brand DNA, and this is something clearly we want to express in this prototype.
So will you keep the yellow, the kryptonite, I think that's the name of the color, will you keep the kryptonite green-yellow color into the race car?
We will see what we have on the race car.
Looks really cool. I think you should keep it. Anyways, Olivier, questions for you, sorry. I think it's a question you've heard, and some drivers had concern about it. No rear wing. How did you come to that idea?
Well, it's basically, I think part of the answer is in the comment that Jean-Marc just made before. LMH regulation is completely new regulation. It opens many new opportunities. We started from zero, and we first spent quite some time reading the regulation carefully. We realized that we have a fixed target of downforce to achieve, and we have the most complete freedom to do it on the shape, a lot more freedom than we used to have in the past. So basically that's the combination of this fixed target and freedom. It makes you think and try to put some new ideas on the table. And what we found in the end is that we can achieve the level of performance required without the wing, basically.
Okay, interesting. I could understand Jean-Eric Verne being like, how are we going to set the car? But there is, as you said, there is a target downforce that you need to reach, and once you're there, you're there. Okay, little question for Jean-Marc. Once the race team is formed for the competition, who will be in charge of it at the track? Who will be responsible? And will there be a team principal role? I think somebody is looking for a job.
Okay, so currently we are still in the development phase, so we'll put the car on the track end of this year. So the organization for the next year is not yet completed, but of course Olivier will manage that when we will be on the track.
All right. Thank you. Question for Linda. When will I be able to buy a 9X8 production road car? Take my money.
Is that your question?
I already asked that question. So you're going to be second, sorry.
Well, I mean, we're in the hypercar stage at the moment, but if we can get his name, that would be very nice.
Okay, so just write, send your name after the question, and bank-wise, we'll speak just you and me. All right. Olivier, question for you. No, sorry. I'm stuck again with questions. I'm not sure I got them through. That's fine. But anyways, I have a question now. Since you can't affect the balance of I know I probably have the answer, but it's good maybe to have the answer coming from an engineer. If you can't affect the balance or the aero balance by a rear wing, how would you change the aero balance front to rear if you don't have a rear wing on the car?
But that was actually the key thing in the decision I mean, not to use the rear wing, is to find something to replace the rear wing in terms, not really in terms of overall performance, but in terms of balance adjustment. And we have a couple of ideas which we need to develop on track. That part of the aero development is very sensitive to the actual track testing. So at Admut, we have some options for this on the bodywork, which will be independent, I mean, not on the wing, but on the bodywork. Right. And this will be further developed on track starting in December.
Okay, so it's basically pieces of the shape of the car that
could be adjustable, yes.
Okay, excellent. All right, now I've got the questions coming back again. We need to keep up. Olivier, a question for you again. What is the technical feeling of the drivers? From Bastien Rouanet. I'm not quite sure what is the technical feelings of the drivers. Probably their first feedback when they drove on the simulator, let's say.
Well, as explained, when they drive a simulator, they don't actually see the car. They just, they drive in a cockpit. They don't know there's no rear wing typically. So they drive the car, and we took our comments, and from their comments, it's nothing different from any other car. Finally, but again, at this stage, it's only simulation.
Yeah, absolutely. It tends to be quite accurate. Okay, that's a question coming from South Africa, from Richard Wiley. What is your projected Le Mans best lap time? That's a question for Olivier or Jean-Marc.
I would say that what is forecast by the regulation is to be around 3 minutes 30 seconds, maybe a little bit less during qualifying, but it will be around this lap time.
Yeah. I think that the ACO and the regulation target was to reach 3:30 as a lap time to keep the safety for the drivers and speed at that level, if I'm correct.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, Jean-Marc, question for you. Due to the new regulations, many big manufacturers are coming back to WEC and to Le Mans. How are Peugeot's chances against Toyota, Ferrari, Audi, or Porsche?
I would like to know that. So we are conscious that we will fight against great competitors. Many of them have been racing in endurance racing for many years, 10, 20, 70 years. So they have a great experience. So for our part, we have a new fresh eyes, a new car, and also a new team. We are giving a lot of attention in the team building. So it's what we did with the crew of drivers, with all the colleagues, the team sport manager. So we are actually building a team, and before all technical sporty reasons, the ground of the way to overcome or the ground of winning is to build the team, first of all.
And having met the drivers last week, I can tell they're already so eager to jump into the car. And that goes to the next question, which is for Olivier. When and where will the first few laps, the first laps of the car be?
Well, I mean, we've disclosed our schedule already. I think the when is before the end of the year. There's a target. At this stage, we are still on that target. So no reason to change this yet. And where, I think you understand, we will not disclose this. I think this must remain private for a little bit.
Okay, good. Question. I asked that question, in fact, but it didn't go through. Question for Jean-Marc. When will Peugeot take a decision about the participation in Le Mans 2022?
Yes, so the car will be on track in December. And this regulation has a specificity. As soon as the car will be homologated, it will be frozen for 5 years. So it means that the car has to be at the expected level of performance and very reliable when we will homologate the car. So we won't take any risk to hurry or to have a very constrained schedule. If we are ready for Le Mans, we will do. If we are not ready, we could come after, and the decision will be made the beginning of next year, as soon as the car will actually be on the track.
Okay, excellent. I'm having a little questions are coming up again. It's okay. So There's lots of positive comments about the new car's look, and that's another one coming from Andrea Jarzyski. I'm not quite sure where you're from, but anyways, the new car looks spectacular, and I'm looking forward to rooting for Peugeot at Le Mans. You've mentioned that technologies will trickle down to production cars. Could you go into more detail, and what should we expect to go on the PSE, Peugeot Sport Engineered car? And that's a question for anyone who wishes to answer.
Yes, I will start with some example. If some of you have ever driven the 5-weight Peugeot Sport engineered, it has management of energy in the car, where you are always keeping the energy of the battery when you are in sports mode. It's coming straight from endurance racing. So this strategy has been developed for the hypercar and is already used on our road legal car. It's one of the example. Another example, it's the same architecture. Both of them are four-wheel drives with internal combustion engine and electric motor with hybridization, and all the strategy, all the architecture are similar or designed by the same spirit and same engineers.
All right.
I think it's important to say that many of the technologies that we're looking at and putting into our production cars is about electrification, hybrid technology, fuel consumption, fuel efficiency. So we're really looking for that because obviously that's very, very important for us.
Yeah, and obviously if your target is to win Le Mans, you better all those technologies, and once they get to that level which is bettered.
Exactly, and then you bring it down to people that are actually driving their cars every day, and that's equally as important for them as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another similar question as the one that I asked when I first saw the car. Can we wait for a road version or something similar to this? It's difficult to say.
I think it's far, far too early to say, and we're just revealing the hypercar. Let's concentrate on one thing at a time. Yes, we want to win first.
Yeah, you've got a list of clients already, but yeah. To Olivier, how do you manage to have high levels of rear downforce without a wing? Where does the downforce come from?
Yeah, it's a similar question to the one you asked earlier, but it's basically the opportunity of using differently the bodywork of the car that's going from this regulation. The fact that regulation is a lot less restrictive on the shape of the underfloor as well, and the concept of the underfloor. And even the rear upper bodywork is also worked out in a different manner. And that's how we achieve that.
Yeah. Or maybe, I know Thierry is over there with the camera. Maybe, I don't know if you can go and show the back of the car, because the shape is actually really impressive, and you understand how much of the airflow comes from the back of the car. Question for Jean-Marc. Who do you see is your greatest competitor?
Oh, I think that all our competitors deserve respect because they've been racing for long. It's also a great brand. So for our part, we have to focus on our team and our performance.
Yeah. Absolutely. Another question for Jean-Marc from Herbert Simon. Will you race with this car in the IMSA Championship in the USA? Since the regulation allows, I think, to transfer. I'm not quite sure, but...
Oh, yeah, so we are thinking that the LMH car could race in IMSA. I think it has to be... the decision has still to be made, but the technical potential should allow this car to race in IMSA, but currently our program is a WEC, and we are focused on this program in the WEC.
Mm-hmm. All right. Matthias, how is the process different compared to designing a pure road car?
A really interesting question. In fact, it's not that different, because when we design a car, we have a briefing, design competition. We have also some level of performance, the target. I would say the major difference is when we design a car, a production car, it's to build thousands or millions of cars, and this hypercar is, few of them, will be. So I would say it's in between a production car and a concept car. But I would say the main maybe difference also is there is a lot of passion, involved on that, because all the team who are involved, on developing this hypercar knows that they will see this car, driving Le Mans. So it's kind of magic.
Excellent. All right, Matthias and Olivier as well, because you've been collaborating on this. Is revealing your concept way before the first race a risk to be copied by the others?
Well, certainly when you reveal something, that's the intention. Everybody's got the opportunity to look at it. Now we know that there are some new entrants in LMH, and we can't really control the timing of their entry anyway. We are on our own timing, basically, for this program, and we don't really fear too much about this, to be frank.
Yeah, you're focused on your own job, and there's a lot to do already there. Question for Olivier: could you explain what the car is that has been unveiled today, if you're not starting testing until later this year? And is this a real car?
It is a real car in a way that, I mean, I would say 95% of the services you see there are legal to the LMH regulation. And that's also very close to what we will have as a race car. It's a question of timing, basically. We have to release some surfaces, and aero surfaces release is done way before you can actually test the cars, and you need to obviously to produce the parts and assemble the car. So there's always a bit, a big lot of time between the time you freeze your surfaces and you're able to show something, as we're doing today, and the time you can actually start testing on track.
Okay, absolutely. All right, question for Jean-Marc. This program will be for how many years? 2022, 2023, for the 100th anniversary, of Le Mans, and after that, will it carry on or not?
Yeah, 23, we'll try not too much dream of 23 for the 100th anniversary, but the current program has been decided until 25.
And it's quite funny because the question comes from Bruno Van de Stiek. We say hi to Bruno Van de Stiek, who's the French famous commentator.
Hello, Bruno.
For the last 20 years in Le Mans, so I hope you're well, Bruno. Kind regards. Happy to have you with us today.
So what is scheduled? Say he could comment until
voilà,
25,
exactly.
at least 25.
You want to comment for many years, many more years about the Peugeot?
He can keep his job for Peugeot until 25.
We'll be there. Top. Jean-Marc, another question for you. Are you going to build customer race cars for private teams? Because we know that this is happening in some other manufacturers. They're building customer cars. Is that something that you have projected or not?
The frame of our program is to have 2 cars and to race for Peugeot Sport, for Peugeot brand with 2 cars. So it's what has been decided, and it's the frame of our project. If there is any opportunities, we could analyze, but it's not scheduled.
Okay, it's not scheduled. All right. To Olivier Jansoni, coming from Fabio Mendes, are the wingless design a statement of the brand or an actual bet for better performance? And are you confident about the fine-tuning of the car with such a different concept? We sort of answered the second part of the question.
So I would say it's a little bit of both, actually. But clearly, we know we designed this car with the firm intention to win in Le Mans, and we haven't made any. We haven't taken any risk that we couldn't really weigh properly, especially on the rear wing. So we put together all the results from the wind tunnels and the simulation we have done about the last month. But we also have to keep this little bit of humility, saying that we haven't run this car on track yet. So so far from everything we say we are confident. It doesn't mean we are sure, but we are really confident. Yes.
Okay, I've got another question for you, which is a good one. Are there any team members of the 905 and the 908 involved in the development of the 9X8? Jean-Marc, maybe,
for
no?
instance, Olivier.
Yeah, Olivier was there.
Not only. There's many of us, actually.
Yeah.
And even the 905, I must say. I was just thinking when I read the question, but it's clear. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Right. Interesting question. Jean-Marc, what's the percentage of the reduction of emissions compared to a classic Le Mans model?
Wow, it's difficult to give some figures right now. We compare with which car, but what we can say is that this kind of car with the hybridization, the high efficiency internal combustion engine, has a very high level of efficiency. The specific fuel consumption compared to usual road legal car is very impressive. I would say it's at least 40% less.
Okay.
It's really a way of accelerating our development for electrification on the low emission vehicles.
Has the ACO decided of the size of the fuel tank already in those cars or not?
The size is actually not regulated. It's the energy that we allow to use on track.
Okay.
That is regulated, not the size of the fuel tank.
Okay, excellent. That was my question anyways. Matthias, question for you personally. Is this the first race car that you have designed?
In fact, the team already worked, with Peugeot Motorsport. In fact, we used to design, in fact, the high-speed car, the Dakar also car. But I would say it's probably the first time that we go in such. Yes. Also in such details, car, because since the beginning, we were involved together with the Peugeot Sports, in order to design this car. So it's probably the first time that we go so much deeper, in the development process.
Excellent. Exciting. Linda, I've got a question for you. Le Mans is getting more and more competitive. So many factories are entering the race. Do you believe that it can become more attractive than ever? Or at least as attractive as it could be in the 1990 where there was the GT1 series?
Well, I mean, it's a great question, but I mean, why would we be here if we didn't believe in it? So, I mean, I think, yes, of course, it is becoming more competitive, but that's the beauty of it. That gives us even more of a challenge that we want to really do our best. So I think the very fact that there are more factory entries is actually the exciting part of it, and particularly for the general public who will come to watch. And yeah, I think it's more than attractive than ever. And obviously, we wouldn't be thinking of this because at the end of the day, this is all about the Peugeot brand and motorsport and joining together and really working together to promote the Peugeot brand and all of the experience and the know-how. So yeah, I really do believe it's as attractive as ever.
Yeah, and actually...
In a different way. I mean, it's a different way, Bruce, let's be honest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And all the manufacturers coming there, it's because there is this interest.
Exactly.
Thanks to the new regulation. Laurent Mercier, who's a famous French journalist as well. Hello, Laurent. Thanks for joining us. You have answered all the questions, but I just want to say one thing. The look of the car is just amazing. So that's not a question. Wow. That's just a fact.
Thank you.
And thanks for sharing this with us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Question from Daniel Lloyd for Jean-Marc. Do you think IMSA will let you race in North America?
Oh, I think it should be because technically this car is very close of what is used in America in LMDH, but they have to make that decision. Yeah. I can't manage that.
Okay, and the other question is, will you guys be interested in the program? We know the program is WEC for now, and that's the focus. And then I think, the car, the regulation will allow that. I don't know if I've got any more questions popping up or not. No, I think we're good. And I hope that we have actually answered lots of your questions. I don't know if, Linda, you want to add something? I would like to say something that I feel there is so much enthusiasm into Hypercar, this project, and here within the house. There are faces that I've had been working with before in Rally and the people that are working there, and they're so eager to go back out there, and there is so much will into winning Le Mans, so much effort that this gives a lot of emotion, and I don't know if you guys can feel that emotion through there. But it's pretty amazing and special what we're witnessing today. So thank you, and I'm again honored to be there with you guys to see this. And I would like to thank you very much for your time and answering all the questions. And I hope that I will see you again soon on the racetrack with the car. I don't know where, I don't know when, but I'll try to be there.
Welcome.
And Jean-Philippe, you're back. We had a great time. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your precious help, Bruce. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Olivier. Thank you, Jean-Marc. And thank you, Matthias, for also all the answers you gave. There were a lot of questions. So thank you also for your attendance and for your interest in this Peugeot 9X8. The car will have its first debut, public debut, in about 10 days from now at Monza as a preview of the FIA WEC 6 hours of Monza. We'll have a little session and present the car. So if you are in Monza, do not miss it. Have a look at it in flesh. You'll see it's even greater than on your screen. So thank you. And on behalf of the whole Peugeot team and Peugeot Sport, we thank you for having been with us, and we all say goodbye.